just a hack. He's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Welcome to this Believe in NFL Draft Prospect podcast. It's another interview edition, bringing you an insight into some of the best football players in all of college football. I'm chopping it up today with Matthew Bergeron, who's an offensive tackle out of Syracuse University. I was telling Matthew before I invite him fully onto the show that I was actually watching Sean Tucker this offseason. I just kept writing down number 60, and I kept writing pluses next to his name. Continue to do it. So I did my research. I actually talked to Mike McAllister, who I was just on his show, Matthew. He does SI Syracuse, who kind of gave me a little backstory on you, man. So welcome Matthew Bergeron to the show. Matthew, appreciate you again coming on, man. I've been a big fan of your film so far, and I'm excited to just kind of dig into your background a little bit.
Well, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So, Matthew, I like I kind of said, I talked to Mike McAllister a little bit about the recruiting background on you. Mm-hmm. So I know there's a pretty fascinating story that I want to dig into. So Talk to me about how you first got in contact with Syracuse and just a little bit of the recruiting, because you're a Canada guy originally.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a crazy story. So my high school in Quebec, we did a kind of a trip. So they brought down 10 players down to the Syracuse recruiting camp. And before that, I wasn't getting recruited by any type of schools. So we came down there, did a camp. And it's at that camp that, coaches started noticing me and that type of stuff. And I got an offer from Syracuse. And when Syracuse offered me, I committed right away because, it's close to home. Yeah. ACC ball. So I was just excited. And, yeah, that's about it.
I love that, man. Yeah, you told me, you came in and Syracuse didn't really know too much about you, and then they just saw you dominating during the event. They're like, okay, we might need to get on top of that guy a little bit. So I want to ask you about the Canadian background a little bit. So I know that we are seeing more and more players come from Canada and be successful players in college football, going to the NFL. I think of like Neville Gallimore and Chase Claypool, and there's a good pipeline coming. But talk to me a little bit about just playing in Canada a little bit. And do you feel like you were maybe underappreciated a little bit just because you were kind of like out of sight, out of mind? Like, was that a part of your recruitment, you feel like?
So growing up here in Canada, even in my wildest dream, I couldn't even dream of playing, college football. So growing up, it was always CFL, and there's, the Canadian college football down here. And there's this school called Laval, and that was my dream school, And growing up, we watched, NCAA, like we watched the NFL, you know what I'm saying? And it was just a wild dream. And when I actually got the offer, I was really excited. So, yeah.
I love that, man. I love it. And obviously it's turned out really well for you. I know you've played a lot of football so far at Syracuse. I think you started some games at right tackle originally. And then
in 2019, as a true freshman, I started as right tackle. Then in the middle of the 2020 season, I moved to left tackle, and ever since I played left tackle.
I love that, man. And then obviously I was looking off the 2021 film, and I thought that you looked tremendous in the few games that I saw. So can you talk to me a little bit about the evolution of your game over the last couple of years, moving from the right side to left side exclusively, and just how much better you feel like you've gotten over the last couple of years?
Man, I feel like since 2019, all I did was keep progressing. I'm proud of what I've put on, last year. I think Coach Schmidt, came from San Diego State. I think he really made a big difference in my, player development. And, I think he made me a hell of a football player. And, people were saying I had a good season last year, but I think, with spring ball that just happened, I think I made some great improvements, and I think it's only going up from here.
And I want to talk a little bit about some of the strengths that I saw on film, and then let's talk about like the things that you're trying to continue to improve on. So, I mean, I felt like from a athleticism perspective, I thought you had good foot quickness. I think that you have good length to you. And the one thing that I loved about your film, because I thought it was just consistent from an athleticism perspective, but I love the grip strength you have, man. I felt like when you get inside on guys, they have a hard time getting that latch off, right? So talk to me a little bit about what you feel like are just some natural elements to your game, some things that you're just pretty naturally good at, and some things that this offseason you've been like, that's something that I want to improve on so I can take my game from an all-ACC player to maybe an all-American level.
Yeah, so, growing up, I played a few sports, basketball, hockey, soccer, and I think it gave me the, I always thought I had good feet, and, I think I'm moving well, and I think it relates to, growing up playing different sports. And like you said, I have a good grip because I think in the weight room, I think I take it really seriously. I came here as a true freshman, 300 pounds, and now I'm 325, so it was a lot of progress being made. And, I think things I got to work on, like you said, is my hand placement. I think I get a good grip on guys when my hands are inside, but I get in trouble when I put my hands outside and I get lazy with my hand placement. And I think that's something I got to work on to take my game, like you said, to the next level. And also having a better hand placement will help me finish blocks on a run game. And I think that's something I got to improve to take my game to the next level, because I got to finish guys more just to stand up, So, yeah.
And Matthew, I would love to hear just a little bit of your run blocking prowess, because I love the movement that you get. Again, when you get inside, you have tremendous ability to displace gaps. And you guys run, obviously with Sean's home run speed and his ability, you guys run a whole lot of outside zone from when I was watching on film.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the running scheme you guys play in and just how natural you feel like you are in the running game in general.
So, with Sean, there's a whole lot of doors to the run games. You can do a bunch of stuff. And I think last year we really improved our outside zone scheme, and I think you can see it on film. And I got pretty comfortable with it. It wasn't something that we did a whole bunch before Coach Schmidt and Sean became the pillars of our run game. And I felt really comfortable, and I loved it. And I think I can, also improve that with my hand placement, my pad level. And I think I can create even more movement than I am right now. And that's it.
Before we continue on with this discussion, folks, I do want to tell you about Bet Online, today's sponsors. Our partners at Bet Online continue to be the number one source for all of your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA playoffs, fights, and even next season's futures. Don't forget that the MLB is back. Who are you picking to win the World Series? BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sports wagering needs, including live betting in your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so head to their website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
No, I love that, man. I love that. So let me ask you. You mentioned that you have played a lot of different sports growing up. Was football one that you always naturally gravitated towards, or was there a favorite growing up kind of thing?
So growing up, I played hockey a little bit, but the thing with hockey is just so damn expensive. Being a kid that just keeps growing, you got to buy new skates, new sticks. It was just too expensive. So I changed to basketball, and that growing up was my favorite sport.
Okay.
And I just around 10, 12 years, I just got a little bit lazy. And I gained a little bit of weight, and my mom just pushed me towards football, and that's where it happens, man. I fell in love with the game, and I never stopped since. And another crazy story about that is I never played another position than offensive lineman.
Really?
I was just an offensive lineman through. I played center, guard, tackle, but I never played DN or whatsoever.
Oh, man, you were just a natural for the offensive line, man. You just fit it early. I love that. I love that. So Matthew, as you have continued to have your game evolve a little bit, I'm sure that the ability to watch film has probably been like a big, you need to be evaluate yourself and kind of self-improvement type of thing. Well, first off, how much has that kind of been an emphasis during your career? And then are there players, maybe past, present, NFL, whatever it is, that you watch a ton that maybe you try to model yourself after a little bit?
So, coming here in the U.S., back home in Quebec, football wasn't as it wasn't taken as seriously as it is in the United States, and that's something that I had to, take a step, from my game, just watching film, being on top of things, just go up in the office with the coaches, watch practice, watch tape of other guys, not only other defense, but other tackles in the league, I remember when Darisaw was at VTech, I used to watch him. This year, I watched a lot of Icky. I can't pronounce his last name.
Aquanu. Yep.
Yeah, Aquanu, tackle from NC State. So, I'm not only watching the defense, but I'm also watching those tackles in our league, because we got a bunch of good guys. And also in the NFL, I watched a lot of Trent Williams, because I think he's one of the best technicians in the league. So, yeah, that's what I'm trying to be like.
And I know, playing an ACC schedule, you're seeing a lot of talented pass rushers. I mean, I just talked to Mike about, you're going to be facing Clemson against guys like Miles Murphy and Brian Brissett. You're going to see Notre Dame with like Isaiah Foskey. You see a lot of great competition, man. Just how much is it fun just to kind of challenge yourself against some of the better pass rushers in college football? And how much do you live up for that, just that challenge and those competitions to be the best?
Man, it's a lot of fun. I'm a competitive guy, and last year when I saw Florida State on the schedule, and it was exciting, and that week I had a little bit more energy. I was bringing a little bit more energy, because I'm a competitive guy, and I just love playing against Clemson, all those big D lines, and because I think when you go up against the best, that's when you got to be on point with your technique. You go against Jermaine Johnson, you can't just lack on your technique. You got to be on point with your feet, your hand, and all that. And that's why I'm excited about the ACC, especially next year, because I think we got a tougher schedule than we had in the past, and I'm just excited about it. Notre Dame got some good guys, always got a good defense, so I'm pretty excited. Yeah.
And I know I mentioned Sean Tucker a little bit. I mean, I thought what Garrett Schrader was able to do at quarterback last year from a running threat perspective, like I think it just unlocked everything from your running game perspective. But talk to me just a little bit about that offense in general. I mean, when you have a guy like Sean Tucker back, there's got to be big expectations. Just how explosive do you think this offense can be now heading into 2022?
I think it can be really explosive. I think one thing we worked on in the spring was just being more balanced compared to last year, because last year I felt like we were heavy on the run game, and sometimes you can see on film defense would cheat their box, load the box, and I think just being more balanced will open even more doors next year for next season.
Yeah, and I know when you're off of a heavy run look, there's a lot of like play action that you're doing, so you're doing a lot of run action. But can you talk to me about your development as a pass blocker? What type of scheme do you guys run? Are you jump setting a ton? Are you 45? Are you vertical setting? Like what is your kind of your basically your experience in pass blocking, and how do you feel like you've developed in that regard over the last couple of years as well?
So what's nice about offense, I feel like I'm doing a bunch of different stuff. I got experience on all those type of sets. I can set wide technique, a type 5. I can go down inside. So the offense gave me the chance to work on all those things in game situation, not only in practice. So I would say in a pass protection standpoint, I'm pretty versatile and I'm pretty comfortable in all those sets. Yeah.
I love that, man. I love that. And obviously I know that, now going into the 2022 season, you just came off of what people perceive to be a really good year. I thought you had a really good year. Sounds like you think that there's even bigger improvements. So kind of looking forward a little bit, just what are some goals that you have from a team perspective, from an individual play perspective? What are some things that you want to accomplish going into next season?
What's important for me is, taking a team to a bowl game. I think that's my biggest goal. And, when I sleep at night, that's the only thing I'm thinking about. And when I talk to the leaders of our team, Mike Hill, Garrett, Sean, Chris Elmore, that's the goal right now. And that's, what we're working towards. Because, last year could have been the year for a bowl game, but, we had a few disappointing game-ending situation, but it's okay. We gonna build off that and regroup. But I feel like my goal this year is really a bowl game, and whatever happens after that happens. I'm my goal. My personal goal is to have a chance to play in the NFL. But
sure,
before I just want to get to a bowl game.
Love that, man. So how just in general, Matthew, how has the offseason kind of been? I know it's nice because last year we're kind of coming out of COVID still a little bit, right? Getting back into the fall. This year it's full sail ahead. Everything's pretty normalized now. How's the offseason been for you?
Man, tremendous. I just having those COVID rules, gone. It feels like normal again. So spring ball was great. I feel like spring ball was really important for our team just to, have a team bonding, because we got a lot of guys with experience that are coming back, right? So we're trying to build off that. And on a personal standpoint, I'm trying to work on the things that last season I felt were an issue to me. And I think we're going to the right direction. And on a personal level, weight room, conditioning, doing great. So, yeah.
And I know I talked to Mike a little bit because he wanted to have me on because he thinks, I mean, it could be one of the better NFL draft, hauls out of Syracuse in a little bit. I mean, you mentioned a few of the guys, right? Yourself, Sean Tucker, you mentioned Garrett Williams, who I'm a big fan of, have been for a couple years. Michael Jones, who I had a chance to actually talk to when he was coming out of IMG Academy. So there's a lot of talent on this team, man. Can you speak to a little bit just the group that you have, I guess the older group now, right? Those guys are all juniors or above. They've been there, done that a little bit, but it seems like a really special group of players.
So we got a group of leaders and players that have a ton of experience on the field, that knows what it takes to win. And just having that, Michael is a great leader. Garrett is a great football player. He's a great leader on defense, and Sean, he's just a tremendous athlete. And Rhino brings a lot of experience and knowledge to the game for the younger guys. So I think just having this group of leader just taking on the younger guys and, for next season, I think the sky's the limit for this team.
And kind of my last question, Matthew, is a little bit of a two-parter. I know you have more eligibility after this next season, but I'm just, whether it is the 2023 NFL draft or 2024 NFL draft, obviously I'm a person that thinks that you have a lot of potential to play football at a high level on the next level. So just looking forward to a second. How long has the NFL kind of been a dream for you? And when it becomes a reality, just how much of a blessing is it to think that could be something in your near future?
Man, it's crazy because, when I was here, in Quebec, I didn't even think about the NFL. Like, thinking that, one day I could be. I didn't even think. I was thinking about the CFL the whole time. And it's when I got to Syracuse and saw guys like Cisco, like Alton Robinson, like Iffy, like Trill that made it happen. That really motivated me inside. And seeing guys even now like Michael and Garrett and just see how they work, it just motivated me to be as good as them. So it's a blessing to know that, one day I'm going to have a shot to play in the NFL. And like, I just got to stick to the path, work hard, be humble. And one thing, I really love the process, just every time I'm on the field, like last year, I was talking about Florida State. It was packed. And I remember it was a timeout. I just looked around like, damn, I'm really in Florida State playing D1 ball. Like, whatever happens, after Syracuse, I'm just glad whatever I did, my career. So, yeah.
Well, Matthew, I really appreciate you again, man, taking a little bit of time. I knew it was going to be a fascinating backstory, but it was even better than I anticipated, to be honest with you, man. So I appreciate your time so much. I'll be rooting for you this season, and just thank you so much for giving me a little bit of time today.
Man, I appreciate you for having me.